Well, hey everybody, guess what? It's Tuesday, it's 6 o'clock. We're here. You know what? It's that time of year. We just started December. It's time to look back at how this year has gone for you. What's gone right? What hasn't gone quite right? Have you met some goals? Did you miss them? Do you know what's going on with your business right now? How it's gone this year already? Hey, we're going to dip into that right after we talk to this stuff, right? The buttons and the ads, and we'll be right back.
Paying too much for trucking insurance? What if you could save more by making one simple phone call and keep more profit? You could very well do just that with one simple call to Seabright Agency, 800-366-6466. Call now.
Now here's a question that all owner-operators and small fleet owners should consider. What happens when you access the unrivaled advantages that are available through the ES Advantage program? We asked Jeff and Charley from Contractors Corner to share their thoughts on how they've been able to utilize the discounts and services that are a part of the ES Advantage.
Your business will make you money if you do well at that business. And ES Advantage in trucking, they do really well at providing those services. So the effect that ES has had on our personal trucking operations, not even talking about what we do on the consulting arena, I've been able to save thousands of dollars a year in fuel because of the relationship with them. I have a new accountant that I work with, trucker CFO, that I learned about from ES Advantage.
They're giving you that 10,000 yard kind of support from behind that creates a way for you to succeed, which is one of the things that we love, because anything you can do to help someone succeed is going to help them succeed. They make money by making sure you make money.
Now, if you're an owner-operator or small fleet owner and you would like to learn more about how you can drive savings to the bottom line of your business, the ES Advantage program has the discounts and services that deliver the kind of unrivaled advantages that are designed to help you improve your overall operation. Get connected with the ES Advantage today.
Is it weird that I just realized how damn old I look in that ES Advantage thing? God, I got the turkey neck thing. So that's why I got to keep this thing growing. It hides my turkey neck so you can't see it. And yeah, man, that was terrible. I don't even know how you guys put up with seeing that every week. Oh my God, I didn't even pay attention to it myself. But whatever. Hey, we're here. I'm here. Jeff is inside running to grab a parking receipt right now because, reasons. And he's probably going pee, hopefully, because God knows if he didn't, we're in trouble. I saw Donna. Hey, Pete, what's up, buddy? Glad to see you that you're here. Hey, you know who was first? Stop it, Bear Hunter. Craig was first. Matt was second. Chris was third. Just saying. Big shock. I had to get all that stuff put up earlier today. We had a bunch of meetings we had to get through today. We literally just wrapped up these meetings 10 minutes before show start. It was crazy. It's been a busy day. Not that you guys are, concerned about my silly stuff, but I just thought I'd share that. We do have a guest coming on. Can you guess who it might be? I know I didn't announce it, but you know what? Because when I put the show up, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to get him. But because of the topic, I said, hey, man, are you available? You think you could come talk to our folks and, kind of chime in on the conversation? Because I think it's important that we actually do follow what the show title says over here somewhere. I don't know where it is on your screen. Oh, maybe it's down. Oh, it's down. Wait. On the YouTube, I can't do that. It's I'm backwards. It's down there. Anyhow, we are going to definitely talk about your year that's just gone by. It's been good for some. It's been bad for others. Whatever. But some people aren't even aware, couldn't even answer the question. They're like, it's been okay. The bills are paid, I guess. Some haven't paid those bills. We're going to dip into all that stuff later on. But where you guys at tonight, man? Chime in down there. Put it over in the chat. Wait. I'm backwards. This thing throws me off. I can't comprehend. Got a little bit of a migraine going right now. It'll go away here pretty soon. So bear with me as I work through that in my head, because it's on this side, and that isn't helping. But anyhow, let's see, where you at? Bear hunters in Connecticut. Oh, good Lord, man. James over in Dallas. Seward, Nebraska, Whiteland, Indiana. I love it. You guys are all over the place. Memphis. Man, you know what? Guess what? I'm at the house in Florida, and it's cold. I almost said a word. That was going to get me beat profusely about the head, neck, and stuff. Virginia. Yeah, you know what? Jeff is up in that area there somewhere, I think is where he's at. I know he had to get up through DC. So I don't know. Actually, I don't know where the heck he's at right now. Green Bay. Oh, good Lord. You guys can keep all that stuff. Bowling Green, Kentucky. Blowing Green. Yeah, that may not be too far from the truth. Hirschbach haters. Nice. Interesting. Oh, Lord. 80K in the bank so far this year. Not bad for a Biden economy. Yeah, yep. Not going to say that that's bad for sure. Jonestown, PA, Chris Hamilton. Jeff's in here. He's going to be popping in here shortly. He's getting himself situated, making himself look pretty, because, the man's got to fix the hair and stuff, and, shove things in his face and make it look right. And it's all good though. So once again, thank you guys for being here. It does mean a great deal to us. I'm going to say at the beginning of the show this time. If you're new here and you haven't checked us out, think about subscribing, doing the thumby thing when you had a chance to listen to a little bit of what we're talking about today. If you get some value out of this, by all means, throw that thumb up there. It's going to help other people get some exposure to this through their algorithms and all those fancy words. And just because it didn't happen earlier, I just want to say the word synergy. Synergy. Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't even work here, but whatever. Craig's over in Rockford, Illinois. Whoo. No, yeah. Dennis Lewis, New Jersey. See, you guys are up in places they're not even on my map, man. Reasons, legal. They go to jail in some of these places because, more reasons. Those who know. Here's a minute. What's good? How you doing? Glad to see it. Glad to see you here. Hey, Jeff.
What's up, man?
You've been busy, bro.
Yeah.
I didn't even do that thing I told you I was going to go do because there wasn't enough time.
Yeah, we've been busy today.
4 bites of dinner just now and threw it back in the microwave, and that's a sad thing because Rosie made me a steak, and it's weird. But that's all right. You know what? I'd rather be here. But, if you haven't figured it out, we are going to have a guest on today, and that guest is Colton Lawrence, Trucker CFO, because we want to talk about, how do you even know if you're doing well this year? Hopefully, some of you, have hired an individual or a company like a Trucker CFO or whoever it is you have out there that actually specializes in the trucking industry tax genre, in the trucking tax synergy. Again, I threw it out there just for fun because it didn't happen earlier.
I did use synergy once in the meeting.
I calling BS, bro. I did not hear it. I used it in our other meeting, not the one you wanted to use it in, because that's just funny. And I was waiting for it. I almost threw it out there just for fun, but I couldn't figure out how to put it in the right way.
Iowa. We're at 6 degrees in Iowa. What the heck?
I don't like it. It's too cold down here. I don't even know what it is right now. I'm curious.
I'm in Jessup, Delaware, and it's 36 degrees.
Get this. It is 52 degrees in Crystal River, Florida right now. And nice. Here's the funny thing. We're supposed to get down to 33 tonight. And they're saying that it feels like 33 out there right now. Just saying, nice. I don't like it. I turned my heater on today because when we got home last night, it was not okay, man. I was not grooving and then I sat down at the computer for an hour or two, right, and just really chilled up because this room I'm in, not a great room for heat or AC. It's a weird thing anyhow. It's totally at the end of the whole line. And when I
Wait,
climbed
wait.
in, I made Rosie the little spoon, and I was the cold one that came out of the freezer.
What is it that we figured it out? 75 degrees is the break-even point in Florida.
Yeah, I think 75 is a good break even where the humidity doesn't kill you or freeze you. But man, it's something, dude. I don't even understand. But you know what? I don't want to kill his time because I don't know how much time he's got because we've already been talking to this dude for other stuff. And I'm going to bring him on. So, ladies and gentlemen, Trucker CFO, there he is. Look at that pretty guy.
Hey, you got a picture this time.
I know, right? He's like, look, now I'm ready. Now I can do this thing. Let's make some things happen. Hey, Colton, thanks for popping on here. I'm going to throw Jeff on that side so the stamp possibly falls on his forehead because that wouldn't be right to put on yours. Just saying.
Thanks for having me again.
Hey, man. So, just diving right into it, the thought process here was, let's take a look back at how people's year has been, and are they doing good accounting? Do they have a good accountant? Do they know if it's been a good year? Are they wondering? Do they think what's going on? And I think that with all of that being said, and I'm all fired up right now because I got to force my way through this migraine, is I simply want to look back and say, you know what? This year, for me personally, been a rough one. Had all kinds of nonsense happen, especially right here, in the end of the year. Oh my God, 2 damn hurricanes, some other stuff that, I was dealing with, and part of it for me was mental health stuff that I'm getting on track with. So don't need to dip into that right now, but I will be dipping into that soon. Private community folks, you'll be seeing whether you like it or not. That stuff's going to be getting put out there pretty soon because I think it's important. I want to talk about some good mental health stuff because let's face it, out here on the road, especially this time of year is a tough time of year for a lot of guys. Away from the family, away from friends and all that. And we get a little even more isolated, and then these storms hit and you get locked down. You're stuck out on the side of the road. Well, you know what? If you haven't been doing it all along, might not be a bad time to take a look at some of your numbers.
Yeah, so I was just going to ask you guys, what percentage of your listeners or people you're talking to, what percentage of them do you think had a good year or would tell you they had a good year?
I think probably half.
Yeah, about half. But half of those would be wrong.
Right.
I was going to say, of the half that told you they had a good year, how many of them are lying to you?
Right. Or just
I don't think they're lying, Colton. They just don't know.
Right.
They don't know. Yeah.
I think that's an absolutely valid and true statement. I think that there's a lot of people that just don't know.
Yeah, it's been rough. It's been really rough. The last 2 years, especially, have been rough. There's been a lot of folks that are just exiting the industry. It's a necessary pain. Yeah, it's a necessary pain that the industry has to go through in order to kind of reset itself because you had COVID. With COVID came this huge bubble of freight needs throughout the country, everything from housing to TVs to groceries, people ordering from home and all kinds of craziness going on. And that had a bunch of people jump into the industry, buying trucks, buying trailers, getting their own authority. And when that bubble burst, it burst for everybody, not just the new folks that got in. And we're still making our way through that. I'm seeing signs and hearing a lot of people talk that we're right on the cusp of that finally turning. Some folks are saying we've already made the turn. Just because we made the turn doesn't mean you're immediately going to see the positive impact of that, right? That means we're no longer going down or staying flat. We're actually starting to come up a little bit. It'll probably be, if that's the case, it'll be a good 6 months before you really kind of start to feel that impact. A lot of that has to do with the way the freight market works. Contract rates for those to start going up, you need contracts to end. You need to see the motor carriers with better negotiating power in terms of being able to negotiate higher rates on their contract freight. Once that happens, you'll then start to see higher tender rejection rates, which is what then flows through to the spot market. You're already seeing that. Tender rejections are up. For the longest time during this, they were down, sub 3%.
Right.
And they're now up in the anywhere from 5, 6, 7% range, depending on where you're looking. So that's a good thing. You really want to see them at a minimum around that 6, 7% range. Ideally, you'd see them up into the teens. At the peak of the COVID bubble, they were up over 30%.
Right.
So that kind of
Wow.
gives you an idea.
So if we can get those numbers up around 10%, man, power to us, because you know what? That's going to be back into that normal upswing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
back to real numbers, not the crazy inflated nonsense we've gone through for the last couple of years on
Yeah.
up and down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, the likelihood of seeing this kind of stuff and the rates that we saw coming out of COVID,
Right.
is probably not realistic. As good as it was, it honestly wasn't good long term for the industry because of
Right.
what happened.
You know, like DAT, those guys just throw those years out when they do their projections.
Mhm.
They just throw them out because they look at them as outliers.
Yeah. So depending on what type of freight you're in, you're looking at anywhere from 3 to 6 months to upwards of a year before you really kind of start to see the impact to your bottom line.
Yeah, I know a lot of guys are, who are running the spots and things like that. There's a couple of you in here in the chat. Well, Todd's there. He could chime in on that. I know that's what he's running again. But the spot's finally starting to climb. It's definitely on that upper movement, right? And those, with the contract freight, being what it is, I think that like you said, that tender rejection, for anyone who's not clear on what that is, basically the tender rejection is you get all these carriers that got all this contract rate. Correct me anywhere I'm wrong, Colton. They get this contract rate and they're like, yeah, we locked it in at this. And they're like, wait, there's a more profitable lane we could be running over here. Let's put that back out in the spot market and see what happens out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is already contracted freight.
Yeah, it's contract freight that the motor carriers that secure that contract freight reject because they're like, hey, we can get a better rate somewhere else on other contract lanes. We're going to go do that. They're still contractually obligated to haul that load usually. And so they'll just turn it out to the spot markets. And the more it's just, simple supply and demand, right? The more freight you have being rejected and pushed to the spot market, meaning it's been rejected by the contract market, the more supply there is of those types of loads, the higher rates you're going to be able to demand for those loads if you're in the spot market.
Right. And with all that being said, let's bring it back into, we got a couple people who said, oh, I'm still here. So that's okay. That's, it's a good year. I can tell you, I'm a little amazed with myself this year, just the way things have gone. I'm like, there was a couple touch and go minutes there. Right. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I don't even know if I want to do this. Right. I mean, cause it was getting kind of wonky out there for a while. But I can tell you, I'm still here. The bills are paid. I'm pretty happy by that all by itself at this point with the way that this year has gone. I mean, honestly, God, got a little bit left over. I'm pretty happy about that at this point. Others, I mean, have done pretty well. Someone mentioned, hey, I put 80K in the bank this year. Okay, that's fantastic, man. Good on you. There's been some other comments here. I apologize for missing all of them. There was a bunch that came in pretty quick, mixed in with our weather reports. That's great. But
there's definitely folks that did well. I don't want to give the impression that nobody did well, because there definitely are those that did, and it is all relative. So if you're comparing yourselves to what you did during that bubble of COVID, nobody had a good year because it was just crazy. But just keeping a level head and knowing what you can realistically expect and being able to just stay even keel through the ups and the downs. That's an important thing in transportation. It's not too dissimilar from what it's like being a contractor. And by contractor, I mean construction contractor. They have ups and downs, very similar to the way we see it in transportation. Whether you're an independent contractor or owner operator or company driver, you have these ups and downs. And so, I guess I should also mention here there's other things playing in to what we're going to see over the next year. If you didn't know, there was an election.
What?
Yeah, imagine that. I don't know where you've been if you weren't aware of that. And again, taking the politics out of it, the impact, there will be an impact from the election. Now, depending on what your politics are, you may think that's positive or negative, but most people feel that the election will result in a positive economic impact. You're going to see some benefit from that. You're going to see regulation kind of get snipped. You're not going to have all the red tape that you got to go through in a lot of different cases. So
Right.
all of that's going to kind of free up the economy compared to what it has been over the last 4 years.
And talking about regulation, I mean, let's talk about Doge, just because I like saying Doge. The Department of Governmental Efficiency. I don't care who you are. That's great stuff right there. That tickles me in places I can't even talk about on here because Pete's listening and I'll get in trouble.
Yeah.
With that being said, I mean, seriously, if they go through with the things they're talking about, I could see quite the boon for a lot of people in a lot of different ways. Not just
yeah. I mean, on the flip side, there's a lot of government contract freight.
right,
So you could have some negative impact there.
right,
So
yeah,
depending on where you're at now, if you're in the military contracting, I think that's going to stay strong, if not get stronger. But if you're into some of these, delivering and hauling loads for some of these agencies that are going to be targeted, you might want to start looking elsewhere, or at the very least, staying very close to what's happening with those particular agencies.
right. Keeping
So,
actually,
so try not to get that contract delivering paper to the IRS.
It's funny you bring that up because we've talked a lot here, as well as other forums that we go on, about the funding that the IRS received. It was the tune of $90 billion spread out over 10 years. And there was a significant increase in the what's the right word to use? The aggressiveness of the IRS with folks that had not been filing their taxes or that owed taxes. There was a solid 3 years where we just didn't have anybody telling us that the IRS was contacting them. If they were receiving letters, which was a big if, there was really no follow-up on those letters. There was no liens. There were no audits really being handed down. So the last year and a half, that significantly increased. And we saw a lot of impact from that, a lot of what we called SFRs, which is a substitute for return. Basically, what the IRS does is they take any information they have on you regarding income and they just file a return. Now, what that means if you're a contractor is if you got a 1099 for, say, $250,000, obviously that's gross, that's not net, that's going to be a gross before expenses. The IRS doesn't know what your expenses were. So they file a tax return on that $250,000 and calculate your income tax as well as your self-employment tax on that $250,000. We had people contacting us with tax bills of $100,000 or so for 1 year. Now, can that be fixed? Yes, it can. We can go in and file an actual tax return and get that resolved. But that just kind of illustrates some of the stuff that we've seen going on. Now, with Trump coming in, what is going to happen with the IRS? A little bit of hard to say primarily because the funding that they received was legislative, meaning Trump can't just come in and cut that funding with an executive order. It's in law. They have that money. They can spend that money. So unless Congress comes in and does something else, which is by all means possible, but unless they come in and do something, you're going to see the IRS continue to operate probably status quo. Also, there's a number of other things coming up here that would have been coming up regardless of the outcome of the election, and that is the renewal of the Trump tax cuts that were passed back during his first term. A lot of items related to those tax cuts are set to expire. So things related to depreciation and a number of other items are all set to expire. And so you've got to keep an eye on that and see what's going to happen.
Right.
My expectation is that you'll see Congress, when it comes time to do what they call reconciliation bills, will push the Trump tax cuts or renew the Trump tax cuts through with some of the other things they do through reconciliation. If you're not familiar with what reconciliation is, you're going to hear a lot about it here in the coming months. It's basically any type of funding bill that comes up does not have to be, it has to be passed by the House and the Senate, but it does not have to pass the Senate with the 60 vote filibuster proof vote, right? They
Right.
under 60 votes, they can filibuster it. That word has been in
Right.
politics for some time. You've
a
heard the
weird
Democrats talk about getting rid of it. And so basically with a reconciliation type bill, they only need to get it through the House and get it through with 50 votes or more in the Senate. And you'll see that happen more than likely.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, there's definitely some things like you said that have already been put into place, and we got to wait and see how that plays out. Iris, Auntie Iris, as I like to refer to her, definitely already has that money, and they're going to be looking to justify their jobs, I believe, is a good way to look at it. So we'll see how that plays out. But I want to bring this back to in one, we absolutely feel like it's important to have a trucker CFO in your corner, have someone that can actually break down the numbers and actually help you understand whether or not you have had a good year, an okay year, or, oh my God, what the heck did I do wrong? Right.
Right.
And to be able to identify those things, Jeff and I love to go through, I don't know if love's the right word, but we do enjoy going through P&Ls and looking at them and saying, hey, man, this is where you got a bit of a weak spot here. Maybe this is something you could do differently. Here's some ideas. What are you doing here and there? But if you don't have that and you don't know how to read that and you don't know what those numbers are, how the heck do you know? Even if
Where the heck were you buying fuel that month? Holy cow.
Right? Yeah. I mean, we've had that conversation with people like, oh my God, why is it so much different from, this month to this month? Oh my God, that seems crazy. Right. But it just comes back to the importance of having, trucker CFO or, some sort of tax people in your background that know this industry.
I want to say something. Colton's
Go ahead.
going to love this. So we were looking at one P&L, Colton, and we figured out that some 800-pound gorilla had just not entered stuff. They had it, but they hadn't entered it.
Yeah, that was the P&L we were actually just talking about. It was crazy.
And so we advised them to call them, get it rectified. They're like, oh, yeah, our bad. So, whatever, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, this is what I would say. You need to know your business. And so when I personally am doing a tax return review, I am covering the numbers with the client. At the end of the day, the client takes ownership of those numbers.
Right.
We do it. We book them. I always ask the client, do you agree with those numbers? Do you have any questions, or is there anything you want me to go into more detail on? At the end of the day, they're your numbers. And if something is missing, look, nobody's perfect. Have we made mistakes at Trucker CFO? Yes, we've made mistakes.
Right.
We are not a perfect company, and nobody is. And so you need to be close enough to your business and the numbers within your business to know if something is missing. Now, something might get missed here or there. And so you need to be able to pick out, obviously, the bigger items. When I say, hey, you had $18,000 of repairs this year, does that pass your sniff check? If you have no clue, you're doing something wrong. If you can, as I say that, if you can say, go through your head, there was this, and this,
Right.
There were these amounts. It should have been closer to 25. Well, let's find out why.
Right. What got missed,
Yeah. So Your tax return is only as good as the data that goes into it, and your bookkeeping and P&L are only as good as the data that goes into it. We are only as good as the data that we receive, and there needs to be accountability on both sides of that equation. On our side, we take accountability for anything that needs to be rectified. You also need to take accountability for items, within your P&L and call us out if something's missing.
Well, and
Right.
that's, this particular case, it was it's the first time he'd actually looked at a real P&L.
Right.
But his accounting service has an app, and on the front page of their app, they just have a down and dirty, hey, you made this much money this month. Oh, look, it went down that month. He had never gotten to the point to where he actually opened the actual P&L, and we started seeing issues with it for months. And you got to be looking at your P&L.
Yes, you do.
I have my account representative over at your firm, Trucker CFO, and there's been a couple times where I'm like, hey, something's not right, and she's like, hey, you didn't send it in, and I say, hey, I'll get that to you.
Yeah. Right.
But they're a phone call away. In any of these firms, and Colton's no different. In any of these firms, you got to understand though, each account rep has X amount of clients that they're responsible for. One of the things I truly appreciate about your people, Colton, is that they call me back pretty darn quick if they're busy.
Yeah.
It's usually within the day that I'll hear back from them.
They're like, oh God,
so I'm not waiting, a month.
One of the things we hear a lot is, hey, I sent that in. Okay, that's great. I'm glad that you sent it in. When did you send that in? Can you go to your email and find that? Tell me when it was. Here's the thing about our system. It indexes every single point of communication to your specific information. So if it's a phone call, it logs the phone call. If it's an email, that email is logged in your account with us. I can go right to that date, and regardless of who you sent it to in our organization, I can see it. Same thing with text messages. Those text messages automatically index as long as you're calling from the phone number that's on your account or sending from the email that's on your account, it automatically indexes. And so I can go find it. And a lot of times, I'll find the email. Other times, in fact, many times, guess what? They didn't send it, right? So it's a good checks and balance to say, no, you didn't actually send that. Let's get it sent in, and we'll get it taken care of.
Sorry, I'm going through stuff. Brain locked up. That was awesome. I appreciate.
I'm just looking at some of your notes. I see Trucker Todd on. Just a shout out to Todd. Good to see you back. Hope you're doing well, and love to see you get back into driving. Glad you're okay.
Right. But we get a lot of answers like this. Not too bad a year, right? I did okay. And I'm not calling anyone specific out, right? But again, how many of them actually know it? And that worries me because, and they're not going to know till they file and they're like, oh crap, because they're not looking at the P&L. They or have never even seen the P&L, which hurts me a little bit.
And
they're not running numbers even weekly.
I interacted with a Swift company driver this week, and his question to the Swift drivers group was, hey, when do they start giving more freight to the new guys?
Right.
And, I answered him fairly well, I thought. But, the thought of my mind was, man, you just picked the wrong time to get into trucking. That's like the knee-jerk reaction because of what's going on in the markets right now. But I also told him this at Colton, because Charlie and I have been through a couple of these in our careers. If you could just survive, if you could have an okay year and not lose your house, to the other side,
right,
there's money to be made, but you have to still be in business.
Yeah, you got to be in business, and that's the key. You just got to survive. And many haven't, and those that are still around, you're almost there. I see a lot of people talking about the tariffs, which, oh, by the way, somebody send me one of you two send me Bear Hunter's name, so I'm sure I don't have him in my system as Bear Hunter. So
Sean.
It's Sean.
Oh, that's Sean. Okay.
You're like, oh, that guy. No,
Yeah, I know
it's
Sean.
cool.
Okay. Now I lost my train. Oh, the tariffs. So here's the deal with the tariffs. This is my take. We'll see how true to form this comes about. So the tariffs right now, it's being thrown around in the news a lot.
Right.
And if the tariffs get put on to the level that you hear them being talked about in the news, yeah, that will be a scary thing. It will significantly impact inflation. It will significantly, in a negative way, hurt transportation. It'll hurt everybody. And it may be that we have to go through some of that hurt.
Right.
Understanding what's going on behind the scenes is important. You've got Trump, who's not in office yet, who is basically out there threatening, for lack of a better word, negotiating maybe is the better word. There we go.
I like that.
He's negotiating before he can really negotiate what's going to happen with some of these countries and their import-export ratio. And and not just with import-export, but also in the case of Mexico and Canada, how they're treating the border. Basically, he's saying, look, get your crap in order and help us out. Be a true partner to the United States of America, or you're going to pay. And he's doing that with China. He's doing it with the EU. He's doing it with Canada, with Mexico, with many, many different countries. If he legitimately went out and slapped a tariff on all these countries for 100%, it would be like Armageddon. Like it would be, it would be horrible. What I'm saying is, I don't expect that all of those tariffs are going to come to fruition. There may be some, and like I said, we may have some hardship to go through over the first 100 days or maybe even longer, as he puts some of these tariffs on and then the negotiations get real. Remains to be seen, but I think in the long run, it's going to bring people to the table and have them start treating the United States more fairly instead of just their,
doormat.
I don't know, what is another term? There's lots of them out there. Basically, we're not here to fund your governments.
Right.
Is what it comes down to in Trump's terms.
I just want to remind people of American history. Okay. We as a country historically have run into some of the hardest times you could imagine, right? In different points in our time, through decisions we've made or decisions that were thrust upon us as a people, as a nation. Okay. I'm going to stand on a little soapbox here. And there was pain, but from that pain, from that absolute, oh my God, how do we get out of this, has come some of those most amazing innovation and growth that we have ever seen historically. Our biggest spurts from, the easy memory, look at the world wars, right? I mean, they were financially destroying us, but look at what we did with industry, with damn word, it's gone. It's there.
Manufacturing.
Thank you. With the way that we turn around manufacturing, I'm looking at things that could potentially happen with, along the lines of the tariffs, and this is way too political for us anyhow, but I think this is a good line. I think this is one that's worth talking about. In the event, worst case scenario, tariffs are slammed out there, and we've got the other side of it, because, he's got people that are looking at, okay, we go in 100% tariffs. We need to start making these things that we are no longer importing, right? Part of that's going to be the deregulation side of things, or regulating things in a more, humane, logical manner. Because I think that, one of the big problems with our manufacturing now is we're so overregulated with everything that you can't afford to do anything. And the time sink, just for fun, look at Elon when he talks about, it takes him less time to build a rocket and put that rocket on a launcher to do all of that, which is amazing to me already in the time that they do it, than to actually get the okay and to meet all of cross the T's and dot the I's and to get the regulation behind that says, okay, you're good to go. How is that even a thing right now? I mean, we've all seen it, the regulation, the over regulating of everything, and we create 19 new departments to regulate the same damn thing. So for me, I think that there's a good possibility. Will there be pain? Absolutely. Will there be discomfort? I don't think we can do it without that.
Yeah, Elon Musk has come out and just flat out said that there's going to be some pain to go through.
Oh yeah.
And somebody, one of the comments was Trump is playing poker. The thing about poker a lot of times is the players bluff.
Right.
I promise you, Trump is not bluffing.
Right. I don't believe he is either.
No,
I think he is.
And if they think he's bluffing, they'll find out real quick that he's not, because he will absolutely slap tariffs and all kinds of other sanctions and all kinds of other things to what he considers to be foes or enemies of the United States.
Right. And I think that's the way the world should be for our world over here. A lot of people don't agree with that, and they're purely worried about, today, tomorrow. I get that. But we're going to have to look at, the long-term viability of us as a country or a nation, and the long-term viability of, our little world right here in this trucking industry. I think that, we're so overly regulated at this point, and I'm not saying that all of them are bad. Don't get me wrong. I think a lot of the regulation we have is there for a reason. It's like you Swift guys, you see that safety message that comes across the board, says, hey, don't forget to use 3 points contact so you don't fall and bump your head. Guess what happened? Somebody didn't use 3 points contact and bumped the hell out of their head. Yep. Right. I mean, so we got to get those things focused.
And I think most of the world knows that he's not bluffing. And that's why so many people that are not Trump supporters are seriously afraid of what's going to happen, because they know he will do these things and they're afraid of what the consequences might be. Now,
right,
all that remains to be seen, but I think in the long run, it's going to be good. My personal opinion is that it will be good to get back to more of a nationalistic approach. America first. America needs to be strong to continue being the leader in the world that I want it to be. We can't continue to decline in terms of our standing in the world if we plan to continue to maintain the freedoms that we have.
Hey guys, speaking of overregulation.
Oh yeah, the BOI. So I did not do that last week. I totally ran out of time. I know I got to get that done.
If you need to get your BOI filed, you need to call us now. We do have a fee. Our fee is $2.99 to file it. So that is very, very in line with what you're going to pay others to file it. It is not a difficult report to file, I will tell you that. But it's also one of those things where if you heard the story of the plumber that comes in and they've they've done all these things to try and figure out what the heck is going on with something. I think it's like some kind of like heater of some kind anyway.
Right.
And it's like he came in and he just turned one nut like a quarter of a turn, and he gave him a bill for like $15,000. And they're like, what are you talking about? You were here for like less than 5 minutes. He's like, I'm not billing you for my time. I'm billing you because I knew where to turn.
Right.
Same thing with the BOIR. It's not that difficult, but we do charge for our time, and we know how to do it. You got to, you have to have this filed by December 31st. You get into January next year. Believe me, this is not one you want to mess with.
$5.95 a day.
Yep. And keep in mind, anytime you move, so anytime your personal address changes, or you change the address of your business, or if it happens to be the same for both of those, anytime that happens, you need to refile. Okay. So if nothing changes about you as the owner, you only need to file this one time. Otherwise you do. And if you don't, if you're not compliant with these rules, it's $500 a day and up to 2 years in prison.
Ooh.
They ain't playing.
They're not
No.
playing.
Yeah, we had a guy on the Facebook say that he has an LLC, but it's not active, and they can go pound sand. He ain't filling it out.
Yeah,
If you
if
have an
it's
LLC that's there, but he's not using it for anything, does he still need to file?
it's I don't know. I'm happy to say I that's one of those gray areas where it's like, don't know what the government's going to do. They don't really get into that in the documentation that you read. Anybody that tells you otherwise is kind of speculating. If here's what I would say: if it's inactive and it has been, if it shows as inactive through your state secretary, the Secretary of State office,
Mhm.
then no, you do not need to file. It needs to be active with the states, the Secretary of State. If it is active with the Secretary of State and you just didn't simply, generate any revenue through that business, I would tell you to still file.
Okay.
Those who do not have an LLC, Colton, do they need to file this BOI?
They do not. If you do not have an LLC, you do not need to file. Does that Trucker Tim saying, does that need to be filed annually? No, it's a one-time filing. You need to have it done by the end of this year. Other than that, the only time you need to file again is if something about your business changes. That could be an address. I say about business, it's about you as the owner or the business. So if ownership changes, if an address changes, you need to refile.
Or if you had a partner or delete a partner,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
any change to the business. So
Yes. We lost Charlie.
yeah, he's doing something. I don't know. He didn't even say anything, man. Just left us here hanging. So Tim, I'm not sure what it was that they did for you. That could have been the I-9 though, when you set up your LLC.
I doubt they would have filed the BOI on your behalf because that just would shock me that they would do that. And just knowing how Swift handles some of the the legalities of contractors and all of that, I'd bet more than $1 million they're not doing that for you.
Yeah. They do file the California car permit for you now. Even guys that own their trucks.
Yeah, it is
For a while.
Tim,
for a while
it is
there,
a
they were.
it is a per LLC filing. So you pay per LLC.
Sorry about that.
That was fun.
Dude, I'll tell you about it later. Let me go back to Bear Hunter. Oh, hell, I forgot about that. What? No. Love you, Sean.
So walk me through something real quick, Colton.
Okay.
In an attempt to save money, Donna did the filings for us. When she goes into the website, she can't tell if Contractors Corner was done or if Workco Transportation was done or if both were done. She just shows that there was a filing. Is there something wonky with that?
No, it's a pain. They give you the report. Yeah, so they give you the report. Hold on, I got to think about this. No, when you get the report, and you should get a report, or you should have been able to download a report from the site when you did it. It will say the name of the business that it was done for. If you get a rejection, it doesn't tell you who the rejection was for, which is kind of wonky.
Fantastic.
So if Donna downloaded or saved the report, she would be able to see which company it was done for. And if she only did it once, she only did it for one of the businesses. Which one?
Okay.
She'd have to figure out. But you have to do 2 filings, go through the same process twice. Now the difference there with Contractors Corner is, you guys are a partnership. And so you've got to upload the information for any beneficial owner.
Right.
Actually, maybe you guys are on the Mortco side too, Jeff. I can't remember, but in any case, you got to know who you're submitting the information to. There's 2 parts to the BOI. There's the ownership side. You're submitting who the owners are. You have to upload documentation that proves that who you say are the owners is actually who is filing. So that's like a driver's license or a passport, something of that nature. There's that side of it. And then there's the business side. You're saying, okay, here's the business name, here's the EIN number, here's when it was created with the Secretary of State of such and such state, things of that nature.
Okay. So like for me, I'm just, reaching for free information here, Colton. Sorry, man. Like when you go to file it, it says you got to put your company name. So Dirt Dart Express Transportation, blah, 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 right? Then they ask, are you working under a DBA? Well, my company name is a DBA. Does that change? Or is the first company name, they're good with that? It's they're happy with it.
Well, so a DBA is not an LLC. You can have a sole proprietor who uses a DBA name,
right,
that does not need to file because they are not one of the qualifying businesses.
Right.
You need to be an LLC or an incorporation, a partnership, some type of entity filed with your Secretary of State, outside of a DBA, that would be required to file. And then within that, there are all kinds of numbers of qualifiers that say whether or not you need to file. To make it easy, if you are a trucking company, if you're on here because you're a trucker and that's what you do, then unless you have revenues, I want to say it's over 20 million in revenues, or is it 5 million? I'd have to go back and look. It's been a while since I did that, but it's some number of millions of dollars of revenue and over 20 employees. So, by the way, we have a blog post on truckercfo.com about this that maybe I should reference, and that any of you can reference by going to truckercfo.com, find our blogs, and there is a blog post about the BOI with the specifics.
Nice. Oh, let's see. So, okay, I'm gonna throw Sean up here because I can't read down there. So my situation in January, I'm going to put the wife on LLC as partner. Would you recommend I do that before I file? Would she have to be listed on the state documentation first?
Well, you have until December 31st to file.
Yeah. So, what I would say, I mean, you can do it either way. The fact is you have to have your initial report filed this year. So if you put her on next year, you will have to file again.
Right.
If you only want to file once, that's great. It does change the way your tax return is handled, because you've now gone from a sole proprietorship, in his case, an S corporation with one member, to an S corporation with two members. And my recommendation, given that they file married jointly, would be that they just basically backdate that to January 1st of 24, unless there is some other issue that I'm not aware of, which there can be. Things can come up that cause you to rethink that date. But outside of anything like that, I'd say just do it that way. File once, put her on as of January 1st of 24.
Okay.
Got it.
The other part to that question, would she have to be listed on the state first? No, she would not. You would need to get that done, but the filing, there's two totally separate entities here. You've got a federal entity and you've got a state entity. You need to put her on with the state entity. And actually, I'm trying to, I think his entity is Texas. I might be wrong on that, but if it's Texas, he would need to add her to that. Some states you don't need to add the partner. It's just the entity, and they don't care whether there's 1 or 100. But then there's the filing with not with the IRS, with FinCEN, that is separate from that, and we can just tell FinCEN that there are 2 owners.
Gotcha. Well, cool. Yeah. So don't put this off, folks. Get this done if you haven't already. I was going to do it a long time ago. I was like, oh yeah, I got plenty of time. And guess what? It's December. Damn.
Yep.
And then I was going to do it last week, and guess what? Still didn't do it. So yeah, I'm stupid, but whatever. I'm going to get that done. I'm going to have to get that done this week because I'm going to be gone for a couple weeks after this. Anyhow, so where am I at? I was going to go somewhere and I just lost it. That was fantastic. What do we got going on in the chat?
I don't know.
Dang squirrels, exactly. Matt says he believes it was 20 million. He likes to read that stuff too.
What? 20 million what?
On the revenue that Colton was talking about.
Oh, okay.
Baron says, dang. So what should be where should we be looking now? If we've got a basic grasp on how this past year has gone, you know, what are you the rest of you planning on doing looking forward? Have you set some goals? I'm not talking about New Year's resolutions. Stop that. It's nonsense. Whatever. You want to play that game, go ahead. Whatever. But what are your actual goals that you'd like to realize this coming year? You know, what is it that you can do to maybe move your needle forward? Because someone was saying earlier, it's a slow season until April. That's not true in the normal OTR van world right now. It is absolutely the boom season right now. That will drop off typically. It used to drop off like right after December 25th. It was gone. But now we've got this little lag that happens over into the first couple of weeks of January. Looking back to the normal years, there's a little lag that goes over into January, but then it starts dropping out, and then we suffer till April. So right now, if you aren't out there getting it, you need to get out there and get it right now. That's why I'm going to be gone for the next couple of weeks, because it is time to get. After a couple rough months here lately for me, I've got to get out there and get it, because it's time. It's got to get it all done. So don't waste your time thinking, oh, it's just going to be garbage right now. This is the time to get out there and really make hay, as they say.
What one of a point there, Charlie, is granted Thanksgiving's already gone and passed, but if your situation is such that you can stay out during the Christmas holiday, and especially this Christmas, because with it falling on a Wednesday, you got a lot of drivers that are going to go home that entire week.
Right.
If you can stay out and make the choice to drive, you can use that to your advantage by getting some pretty nice runs.
Right.
Because there's less of a supply of drivers, and there still is that common supply of freight that needs to be hauled.
And I mean, there's companies out there that will pay you a premium for this. Let's just be real. Especially you guys that are out there running that spot market. Watch what those rates do, 3 days before Christmas. I'm just saying, man.
Yeah.
You really see quite a big peak there. Those of you who are in that market could absolutely chime in on this. That would be helpful.
Hey, by the way, Charlie, I looked it up. It is 5 million in gross receipts and 20 employees. The 20 threw me because I knew there was a 20 in there. It's on the employee side, and then 5 million in gross receipts. So if you have more than those two numbers, regardless of what it is you do, you don't need to file. And that's why people say this truly is just a small business
hassle.
Yeah,
I'll say it.
They're targeting small businesses. It's what it comes down to, and it's just
they want better accountability, and I mean, I get the premise behind it. I just think it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah,
the premise sounds good. It always seems to be that, let's face it, the guy that follows the rules is the one that pays for it, right? Those who aren't following rules don't follow rules for a reason, and they're probably still not going to follow the rules. But maybe it'll help weed those guys out, and they'll do whatever it is they're going to do, and what have you. It's just something else we got to jump through. And oh, look, more regulation. Just saying, it'd be fantastic to see some relaxing on that. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. And don't hate me, whatever. I don't even want to hear your nonsense out there. So moving forward, guys. I know someone was saying, brought up, hey, end of year, I should hurry up and get this stuff written off. And, we've said it in the past. If you don't need to write it off, why are you rushing to do it? Don't buy a shiny bumper to have a tax write-off, especially if you don't need a damn tax write-off. Do you even know if you need a tax write-off? Because you should be knowing right now. What are your expenses?
And don't spend money
right
just to get a tax write-off. Like if you need something, great. But the shiny bumpers are not a need.
Right.
And that's great. It lowers your tax liability, but guess what? It took more money out of your pocket than the amount of tax that you'll save by buying that thing. So
I like to
it's
throw
bad.
easy numbers out there for people. I'm like, okay, if you spend $1 to get a tax write-off, I just process in my brain, okay, I'm only going to save 33 cents in tax liability, but I spent 66 cents to do that, and that makes no damn sense to me. It's just my easy numbers, and you can
Yeah.
fix me. It's just an easy way for me to look at something along those lines. I'm not going to spend all this extra money to save this fractional piece, especially when I don't need it. But a lot of these guys don't know whether they need a deduction or not, because they don't know what they spent this year, and it hurts my brain, and it kind of makes me sad and whatever. Donna said she knows she did it once, but can't tell if she did it for both companies.
Let's put this one up. It's been trying to get a live person over there. Keep getting a bot. Well, that's the government for you. Report has downloaded.
Did she
does not
file
specify.
Did she file it through FinCEN, or did she pay a company to do it?
She filed it through FinCEN.
Okay. That's one of the things we've run into is there are a lot of companies out there trying to make money on this. And so they'll make it, and I'm not suggesting this is what Donna did, but just as a caution to folks, is they'll make it look like you're going to FinCEN when you're not. And so you just be aware that if you're on a site that's asking you to pay money, you're not in the right place. We do it. We charge for our time. When we do it through FinCEN. I even looked into other companies that were trying to automate this process for companies like mine that are doing it for our clients. And it was literally, they just duplicated the FinCEN website, because there's a number of questions you have to go through. And I was just like, why am I going to pay you the, whatever amount it was that you want me to pay your software to do, when I can just do it right through the government agency just as easily? And so don't anybody pay anybody unless it's just that you don't want to have to deal with it and you want somebody with the expertise that's done it a million times to do it for you.
So I have a question then. Let's just say that we throw our hands up and say, okay, let's just pretend we did do it and go through and do the whole process like next week. Is there anything wrong with doing that? Like, if one of them did get filed and we don't have proof of it, does filing it twice do anything?
No, it'll just give you an error and say this was already filed. Now, don't do them. I guess it doesn't even matter if you did them both at the same time. If you do them both at the same time and one of them had already been filed, you'll get a rejection notice. You just won't know which one it was that rejected because it had already been filed.
So if you have multiple LLCs, folks, and you want to do this yourself, one at a time. That's what I'm getting.
One at a time, and make sure you download the report. When you get to the end of the process, it'll say success, and it gives you an option to download your report. And when you download that report, it will give you the name. And just because it says success and it gives you the report, it still has to go through a process to be accepted by FinCEN. And that's where some people are getting caught, is they think it's been filed successfully. And if they have multiple entities, they've got successful filings for these entities, but they don't know which one rejected. So
dumb.
So here's a funny thing. So last week when we were talking about this, I went to a site, and then you just freaked me out because, right? And it turns out I was not in the FinCEN site. I didn't even know. Yeah. I started to fill it out, and then luckily I backed out. I just realized that I wasn't even in the FinCEN site.
Well, and that's the trick, is they'll get you all the way to the end and you've already done everything you need to do. And then they'll say, okay, now pay us.
Because this is completely, I'm actually physically in in fact, the web address that I'm in now is boiefilingfincen.gov.boir.h/html. Totally different than what I saw just 2 minutes ago, because I pulled that website up that I had, because I saved it, because why not, right? Mm-hmm. Holy crap. I thank you, sir. Once again, save me from doing something dumb, because there was nothing that I mean, it looked legit.
Yeah.
But this is totally different. And it's like, yeah, man, here you are. I'm like, man, I feel silly.
So I would just tell Donna to go file them again, make sure she's on the right website, and file them again one at a time, a day, at least 24 hours in between each filing, and make sure she gets the report with the name on it.
I'm going to grab this link real quick because I think this is important. I'm going to put this in the chat. You know what? I'm going to put it on the Facebooks too. So let me put it over here. Send that. And I'm going to throw it up on the screen because that will take you to the straight filing. If you're doing it yourself on the site, make sure you're going to the right place.
Hey, I'm going to double check your link too. I want to make sure
absolutely
you're not leading people astray, Charlie. It wouldn't be the first time.
That's for sure, sir. Because
know.
I'm just saying, you might get to one of my squirrel sites. What? I'm just playing. That's weird. That's not weird. Yes, it is. But yeah, so this is important though. I mean, look, $5.95 a day, man. That ain't no joke. I'm just saying. I ain't got that. I don't want to spend that kind of cheddar on something that I could have got done. I'm gonna actually look at this tonight, Colton, and I don't know. Maybe I call you tomorrow, bro. I'm just saying.
Okay. Yeah, hey, I'm sorry. I'm sort of listening. I'm double checking. It is the correct link. It threw me a little bit just with the way it reordered.
Right.
BOIE filing.fincen.gov /file BOIR. That is a correct and legit URL.
Yeah, and let me go back to where I got that. No, that's perfect. I think that takes them right to that filing page and lets them click on, is this a new filing, etc. And so I think, yeah.
Now, once you get in there, there's a whole bunch of questions, and that's where people get caught. Is do you know how to answer the right questions? So if you get into this and you're just like, I'm not sure what the answer is to the question, don't just guess, because that guessing can also result in $500 a day and 2 years in prison if you guess wrong. So if you're just not sure, just give us a call. I think you'd rather spend $299 once than $500 a day.
Right. I'm just looking at this right now, and I really need to do this when we're done here because I need to get this.
So
it's either happening tonight or I'm calling you tomorrow.
Sean, by call me, I mean by call Trucker CFO. I'm a busy guy.
Right.
So Sean brought up some. I gotta respond to this. Where was it? Gosh, the comments are actually coming through today. Weird. He is saying that he's trying to run more, but he's stuck in a solo loop. So, for those of you that don't know, Sean is an actual client of ours. He is part of the school group, and he's been a good supporter of us over the last 2 years while we've been building all of this stuff. Not tonight because I'm freaking tired.
Right.
Give me a call.
It's been a long.
I learned some things about the expedited business, and we need to talk about this time of year and how it's different than what we're used to.
Right.
Yeah, there's differences in freight. I think what you're alluding to is expedite actually slows down this time of year because companies are already gearing up and planning for the loads that they need for the holiday season, and so there's less of a need for the expedite stuff.
Right.
And by expedite, we're talking like true expedite, like what Sean is doing. Not the expedite that you see through like a CRST. There's plenty of motor carriers that will say, "Hey, we run expedite." Not really. You've just got your contract freight, and all of a sudden they'll throw one in at you that they need delivered, a little bit more quickly. That's not what true expedite freight is.
Right. Yeah, true expedite, man. I mean, I'm pretty open about my experiences, Colton, since I came over to Panther, and the jury's kind of in at this point. Boy, is it a tough business for a solo guy.
Yep.
We do sit more. I got some raspberries for some guys. Oh, you're going to sit 3 days at a time. And, that is true sometimes. But you know what else is true? It's got better rates. And when it's time to go, buddy, you better be ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the first things I learned about Expedited is talking to the people at Panther itself. So you call them in the morning, for instance, like 8 o'clock when the office staff gets there. Hey, what are we doing today? I don't know. We haven't booked loads yet today. Well, to say a mega carrier dry van guy running OTR, they think that's crazy. What do you mean you don't have any loads booked today? Literally, Panther has a 90-minute turnaround from the time they get an order for a truck to have that truck on site and getting loaded. That's their thing. So their customers will be like, hey, crap, we got to get this out. It's got to be 500 miles away by tomorrow at noon. It'll be ready here in about an hour and a half, 2 hours. All right, we'll get you a truck. And it just, bam, you got to go. Or you lose out. It's an interesting business. It's very, when it's running, it's fast paced. And then when you're waiting for freight, it's kind of slow. But that's just the nature of it, And I actually learned a little bit. I've talked to Charlie, this, the Petro in Ontario, California.
Right.
That's where all the FedEx custom critical guys hang out. Got some Panther there too, straight trucks. I know that'll sound weird to people at Panther. They don't think that they do anything over there, but teams do.
Right.
But all these expedited straight trucks with the big, beautiful sleepers, temperature control, they're all sitting there at the Petro in the part of the parking lot where they get to park and we don't because we have trailers, so they don't have to pay. But you talk to those guys, and I talked to several of them, and they're like, well, we'll probably be here 2-3 days, but when we do get a load, we're going to have to go, and this is what it pays. And I'm like, wow, so you get to sit in your really nice big sleeper for a couple days in sunny Southern California, work 3 days and make what I make working 70 hours. Literally. So there's a mindset shift there that I'm still not 100% used to, which Colton can tell you. Because I complain a lot. But the rate that you're getting paid to haul this type of freight, especially if you talk to some of these FedEx white glove custom critical guys, holy cow. When they run, they really are making bank. You got to start looking at, rather than, all right, I worked my 70, I'm good week. No, you got to look at your revenue for the week, right? Because Panther also, they'll throw you a bone. If it's something that really needs to go and there's some money in it for them, there's some negotiating there that you can do, which is also a totally different thing from most OTR van freight. So Sean, this is kind of what I've been trying to get to with you. You're saying solo freight. I'm saying Panther looks at it and you can get it there, and they're paying you well to do it. Let's look at the numbers. Give me a call. Let's look at your numbers again, and we'll see. I'm almost willing to bet that you're making more net doing what you're doing with, quote, solo freight, because I know that you're on a different contract than I am too, than you would have running team freight at Swift. Or at least similar, and you get to rest more. So that's my 2 bits about Expedited. Hey, I'll put it out there again. I happen to know that there's some fleet owners at Panther. They're looking to expand. They have some empty trucks. If you're interested in getting into Expedited, shoot me a message on the Facebooks. I use my real name, so Jeffrey Morton, and we'll talk to you about it. See if maybe it's a good fit for you. You're going to work, though, and then you're not, and then you're going to work, and then you're not. It's an interesting thing. One of the things, Colton, I've told Charlie this. One of the things I do like about it is there's enough downtime for me to work on this other stuff we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice. This time of year, I was not expecting because, again, first year in expedited, I didn't know. So I'm just sitting here thinking, man, mileage just dropped off like a freaking cliff. You know, over the summer, especially once I got the tractor, I was like, yeah, there's money here, man. This is all right. And then was it probably about when I came off of my last home time, Colton, is when it happened. It just went poof. And I was like, what the heck? I'm calling my fleet owner. I'm saying, did I run over somebody's cat at corporate without realizing it? What's going on here?
Yeah. We got another 5 weeks or so before we see the freight pick up.
Okay. So, we always tell people save a little bit of money each week you're profitable. So in OTR land, you're saving for that January through April. In this operation, you're saving for the holidays. It's just flipped.
Yep.
Struggles and mental things aside, I'm pretty glad that I took this challenge on. It's been 18 years since I've learned a new business, so it's definitely been exciting. Charlie could tell you, I call him every day. I don't know about this, man.
Right. Sorry, I was trying to do some other stuff in the background. It's not going to work. Good God, I'm just a train wreck. This migraine won't go away. It's weird. It's not killing me though. So that's awesome. I think I got to talk to my pain doc tomorrow and be like, hey man, how about time for another shot in the neck? Right. Anyhow. So I did put up ways to find Jeff and I in the Facebooks. If you haven't seen down there at the bottom, definitely you can see Colton's contact information down there. You can send information, or if you're just looking to get information from Trucker CFO, info@truckercfo.com. Again, it's probably not going to be Colton that answers you right away. I don't know. I'm just saying he's got people. You can go to www.truckercfo.com, or you can give a call 800-533-4230, and he's definitely our recommendation for bookkeeping and accounting. Give us a shout out, let him know that we sent you. Just saying, he doesn't really care, but hey, just
I do. I would definitely like to know. We would definitely like to know within the business where you're coming from.
There you go. I like it. I just like people mentioning our names. Is that weird? I don't know.
So, Mudflat, you're still away from home 70 hours a week. So what? That's trucking. Doesn't matter which sector you're in unless you're doing local. What's important is, can you pay the bills? And do you have money left over? It's just the nature of the business, man. And I'm sorry, but if you can't hack that, maybe this ain't for you. I know that there's a trade-off usually. You could either be home every night and make less money, or you could be gone all the time and make more money. Now, that's not 100% always the case, of course. There's always those outliers. But it's just kind of the nature of the business.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I get that about the sleep, Bear Hunter. That's why I don't team. My biggest concern is the way we have been running lately is really, really tough on trying to get into the drive groove sleep-wise. Yeah, I get it. I mean, this week for me, I'm pretty solar powered in my old age. I prefer to drive the days. But, last, 3 days, Charlie? I've been getting up at like 1 o'clock in the morning to drive because that's just what I needed to do to service the customer.
Right.
And then usually for me, by the time I get so tired where I'm like ready to say F it and get on an airplane, I've ran out of hours anyway, and I just sleep for a day.
Right.
You're all caught up. Charlie tries to call me and he gets my really unprofessional voicemail message.
What? He doesn't.
I gotta change that. So somebody called me out on my voicemail thing the other day, and I'm like, oh, I haven't changed that in like 15 years. I should probably do that.
Yeah, I keep wanting to do mine too, and then I'm like, I've got 9 things I could do instead. It's not a.
Yeah.
Well, hey
Oh.
guys, my headset's chirping at me that it's going to die again.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, man, we're gonna cut you loose here, Colton. I appreciate you coming in, man, and definitely shout out to Colton, Trucker CFO. If you need some tech stuff, that's our dude right there. Give him a call. The stuff's gonna be scrolling across the bottom. And any last words, Colton?
Great time to make a change right at the end of the year.
Right.
Use us for your 2024 tax filings. Obviously, we'll get you going on bookkeeping for 2025, and would love to talk to you and help you out. So everybody have a good day.
Thanks, man.
All right, man.
Appreciate you,
All right,
Colton.
bye. Yep.
So yeah, it's funny as I was working on this BOI stuff in the background, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I haven't decided if I'm going to actually be able to do this or not. I may be calling Colton tomorrow. Well, not Colton, but Trucker CFO. Good Lord, it's a lot, man. And now I'm all freaked out.
Yeah,
Because
it took Donna hours. I know that.
I'm not looking forward to this, especially with my brain pain right now. It's pretty awesome. But hey, if there's anything you guys want to dip into beyond what we're already talking about, definitely throw that in the chat. We will try and answer any questions you have. Again, a little scattered again today. Been a really busy day. So yeah, I had to go pee in the middle of that. That's where I disappeared. You're welcome for that. I'm just sharing.
I'm just happy
realized that I didn't go. Dude, we were at that other stuff for 3 hours straight. Right. And I was like, oh, and then I went to try to eat my dinner and I never went to go pee because I'm a child. And then I was standing here like this, people dance, gotta go. I was like, I'm out, gotta go. Anyhow, whatever. It's the same when you get older. Gotta go a little more frequently. Good God. Why do people let me talk? I don't even understand. I want to go back through some of the chat and see if there's anything that I missed. Petro in Ontario is a nightmare. I used to have some good times. Well, not the Petro. I used to sit at the TA. We had good times out there. Barbecues and such. Community barbecues. It was awesome. I miss those days. I'm not going to lie. What's your take on new truck now or wait till after first a year? Honestly, would it really matter at this point in the year? I don't know if you're talking about going out and purchasing a truck. I don't know. Could you even pull the trigger this quick for some of you? You've got less than 30 days. If you don't have things already set up in line, I don't know. And depending on what kind of write-offs you've already got, might not be bad to push it off till January, right? But again, it very blanket general type of statements because we don't know what your individual needs are. And that's why you need someone like Colton, Trucker CFO, to be able to say, hey, you know what? Maybe you should put that off till January because right now, man, you're sitting pretty good on a bunch of deductions. If you dump it now, you're going to have to, it's just a whole mess.
I mean, the only thing I would point out is, are you purchasing or leasing? Because if you're leasing the truck, it doesn't matter at all. Because you're not going to depreciate that truck until you own it. The leasing company is depreciating it on their end, so you can't do that.
Right. You're right.
Once you hold the pink slip, or if you have a note for it, you can depreciate it.
You know what's funny about that is a lot of these guys, big corporations, I bet you they're absolutely depreciating that out to zero.
Do I look like a cheater? No, but just.
What are you playing, Jeff?
I don't know.
Yeah. But they're depreciating this out, and then they have to fix that when they actually sell the truck, if they sell the truck, because they have to adjust for the revenue that they made after they already depreciated zero. A lot of people
because I depreciated my $62,000 100%. If I sold it for $10,000, that's a capital gain.
Right.
I have to pay taxes on that because I already depreciated it 100%.
A lot of folks don't realize that.
I mean, what is that? $10,000, I owe $3,000 in tax roughly. Okay, I'm still ahead.
Oh yeah. But the problem is when people get blindsided by it. You know, and
Actually, you know what I would do? I would just use my solar credit to offset it. So
there you go. But you look at what I was talking about was like, you know, a mega writing off, you know, the quick depreciation on a $200,000 asset. And then they actually get that guy that pays the 80 grand or 60 grand balloon to buy it out. Now they've got that capital gains. And that would just seem like a nightmare, especially on that scale with the amount of trucks that they handle.
I have to believe that, like, say, a Swift is probably smarter than that.
You would think so, but
I mean, they got tax attorneys that make more in an hour than we make in a year. So
whatever, they're fancy pants. He's watching squirrel videos, right, Matt? That's probably what it was. Jeff's watching squirrel videos. That's not weird.
why would I need to watch squirrel videos when I could just watch you, Charlie?
Right. What? What'd you say? I don't even know what you were talking about. But a lease is a complete 100% write-off. It's better than depreciation.
No, it's not. It's the same.
Yeah, it's an expense deduction on the rented equipment as their terminology.
Yeah, and let's say you bought a brand new truck for $200,000 cash today. Yes, for some reason you had $200,000 laying around, which, you know, we all have, you know, under our mattress. You're going to depreciate that $200,000 over 2 years or over 4 years, depending on. Okay, so here's another one of those political things, Charlie.
Right.
It depends on who's in office.
Right.
How you do depreciation.
And what options you have.
And what options you have. But in the end, you're going to depreciate that truck 100%. So, and Colton will yell at me for saying this. Absolutely. Because in his counting mutant brain is wrong.
Right.
The way I look at it, by the time you own a truck long enough for 100% depreciation, you just got yourself a free truck.
He hates that statement.
And the reason is because without that depreciation, let's say it's $200,000, I would have spent $200,000 in that same time frame in taxes. It's a wash.
Right.
So to me, if you can stay in business long enough and you do well enough to where you own your truck outright, you got yourself a free truck in the end. Which is why when you sell it, you have to pay capital gains on it. That's just the way my truck driver brain works, man. I'm not smarter sometimes.
Right. Excuse me. Let's see. Sean's stressing out. Sean, I get it, man. That's why you pay people to do all this stuff in the background, bro.
Why do you have a solar credit, Sean? Didn't you listen to me?
No.
For those of you who have not heard me go off on this, solar's a ripoff. There, I said it. Should I say it again? Solar is a ripoff.
I want to go back to Donna's thing here real fast because that was
tax
important.
credits don't work the way you think they do, not the way they sold it to you as. And depending on the municipality and where you live, the power company doesn't pay you squat for the power that you put on the grid.
Donna, you need to file there's a separate filing for each LLC. Within that filing, you have to list each member of the LLC.
So for Mortco, that's you and me.
Right.
For Contractors Corner, that's Charlie and me. One filing for Contractors Corner, but you need to put both of our information in. One filing for Mortco, but you need to put your information and my information in because we both own part of the company.
Hirschbach haters. Okay, wait. I want to wrap my head around this for fist. Can't you take your paid off truck and build a second truck and write off all the parts needed, in essence, writing off the truck twice? I'm going to say no, because if you're if you're assigning a cost to the parts you put into the second truck and taking those parts from your first truck, that's capital gains on the first truck. Even if you parted it out. That's what I'm going to go with. But I would absolutely approach a tax professional on that. But I'm pretty sure that my brain thought here is correct, because if you're parting out that truck, you're making gains on that truck, even if it's one part at a time. So, yeah. And if you're saying that you're paying $1,000 for, what have you, you better be able to show that accounting that you paid that amount.
So here's something interesting at Swift, right? I got the 22 and I asked them this question. Can I get parts for my 16 so that I can fix it and get back on the road from the Swift parts counter? You know what they said? You cannot.
Reiterate all that.
So I was going to use my discount at Swift to buy the parts I needed to get my 16 back on the road. So then I had 2 trucks, right? Swift would not let me buy parts for the 16 because it was not leased to Swift.
Right. That's a trip, right? They're not in the.
So I had this whole big plan to like use my maintenance account for it and everything.
Right.
And they shot me down. Although, you know what? Somebody that I won't name because I don't want to get her in trouble said, well, how do they know what's going on at 16? You go to the parts counter and say, you need this part number. Okay.
It might work. Just saying.
It might. You know me, man. I'd tell on myself. You know? At some point, I would tell on myself. Absolutely.
Okay, I'm having fun with this line of conversation over here. Sorry. You're using your paid off engine and transmission, but adding new parts like a new APU, etc., and writing off the new added parts. Well, right. You would only be able to write off the new parts cost.
Right. And I think for depreciation, it has to be, there's some language about qualifying parts and stuff.
Yeah, there's a trip there. Look, this is definitely beyond our.
This is a Colton question,
right? And I would love to.
I mean, this isn't even, Charlie, a call trucker CFO question, because when I've had questions of this caliber, what Jessica says is, let me have Colton call you.
Yeah, gonna have to get the dude.
We need the counting mutant on this one.
Yeah, you absolutely need a legit CPA, the top dog, even an accounting lawyer. I mean, I'm just saying, because you're getting into some weeds there that could lead to serious ramifications.
So can I just put this out there real quick? So you know that I actually like hang out with Colton a little bit. It's always business related, but we do have lunch together when we're both in town and have time. I have a hard time with him wrapping my mind around the fact that he's someone that went to college for 4 years to be an accountant. The personality does not match my preconceived notion of an accountant.
Right. I know.
At all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a trip.
He doesn't wear a suit ever. I've never seen him in a suit. I guess if I visited him at church, he probably wears a suit there, but that's about it.
Make him that small? My bad. I love you, bro.
Oh.
Could buy him at Build-A-Bear. What? Stop it. Just why do you set me up like this? This is wrong. That's not right. Hirschbach haters, I just want you to know that I love the creativity of your thought process here. And I totally dig. I mean, this is like a legitimate.
That's like Scarface Al Capone level creativity there on the taxes, bro.
Right. And could be legit parts of it. I'm not. I mean, I can just give you my opinion, but my opinion is not going to keep you out of jail or out of fines. So that's why I would say you definitely need to talk to a professional tax person, because and if you find out a legitimate answer, please come back and let me know, man. Just bring the reference. I'm just saying, because I like to, trust but verify. I don't want to talk about things, and maybe I'll try and send that out there in the ether between Colton and I and see, because I actually, this is an actual
You
interesting
should just
line.
take
reading,
that as the question was asked and send it to him. See what he says.
right? I may send him a link back to this section because it's only a couple minutes of chat that he could actually see for himself and process that. That'd be cool. Suits are out like a wristwatch and DSLR camera.
Depends on what circles you're running.
Right. Not my circles. I'm not getting in them suit circles. They don't like me there. They look at me funny because I look like this, say things like
I like
that.
suits, but you know what I like more than suits? Being comfortable.
Right.
I look damn good in a suit, man.
I'm gonna take your word for it.
I can wear a suit, and but you know, once you get used to not wearing one, going back's tough, man. Even on like when I'm home and I get to go to church, because our church is, you know, a shirt and tie type church, you know.
Right.
Man, it's hard to wear that tie for 2 hours.
Oh, wait. I got a thing. Just ignore me for a minute.
Okay. For anybody out there that is into men's fashion and suits, though, look up Ask Koki. You'll thank me. That dude's amazing. Every once in a while, I'll share one of his videos on my Facebook feed. He's a tailor out of Britain that does bespoke suits, and they're pretty amazing.
Watch this. That's the last time I wore a suit right there. That was several years ago. Look
It wasn't
at that.
that long ago because I remember when you were fat, bro.
That was a couple years ago, bro. Trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Trying to say time's flying and shit.
stuff. You better watch your mouth, sir.
Whatever.
I don't even know what the date is. I wish I knew the date. But yeah, that's funny. I had to think about it. I was like, the last time it was Brandy's wedding. So yeah, that's my brother-in-law's twin sister and her husband. And yes, I am the dude officiating that ceremony. Y'all watch out. Notice there's a microphone there. I did the whole video thing for him and everything. It was awesome. And
Nice.
You know what they cost them to have me there, provide video and audio and officiate the ceremony?
Barbecue, wedding cake.
Barbecue ribs, man. I said you gotta have the barbecue ribs.
You know, having gone through 2 weddings, one was just a nightmare with the photographer. The other one was okay. My dad and my uncle took our wedding pictures.
Nice.
And you know, we're pretty happy with them. And we didn't have to spend several hours out in the weather posing.
Yeah.
Basically they went around the wedding party and took pictures. The only posing we did was right in front of the temple where we got married.
Nice.
And did a couple shots there, but other than that, it was a free for all.
Yeah, I had 3 cameras running the video, and a soundboard capturing everything. Dude, it actually came out pretty good. I was impressed by it by myself because I was actually learning a lot at the time, and it came out. I was like, man, I could have made a couple bucks on that. Dang it! But that's right there. That was the last time I wore a suit. I had to think about it for a minute. It hurt my head, but I want to say it was a couple years ago. I wish I could. I don't know. Dang, it's got to be at least 2 years. I don't know.
So I'll address this, James, because this is y'all know that I'm LDS. So the reason for our 2-hour block. So when I was a kid, it was 4, and it was several times a week.
Right.
Then it went to 3 hours just on Sunday, and now it's down to 2. And here's the reason, and I agree with this reason. It's the focus on the family. The decision was made in Salt Lake. You know, I won't go into how that's done, but you should be spending Sunday with your family for most of the day. It should be taken up in church assignments, all that stuff. Spend time with your family. And I really appreciate that because, man, I remember as a kid, it was 2 hours in the morning on Sunday, 2 hours in the afternoon on Sunday, and then primary, which is kind of like Sunday school, was on Wednesday. That was a lot of church in a week, bro. So yeah, they call it family centered and church supported is what they call it these days, and I enjoy it. We get most of the day with just us and the kids. Of course, in 2024, that means the teenager laying down like a burrito on the couch with her laptop out. But
August of 21. That's when that picture was. Sorry.
2021.
Yeah. It was killing me. I had to know.
Yeah, if you guys aren't familiar with what I'm talking about, Charlie used to be larger. Matter of fact, if you look at his profile picture on Facebook, in comparison, he kind of looks like a skeleton now. His face.
Well,
and I enjoy pointing that out.
Wait, actually,
and I'm hoping to someday emulate that.
No, wait, because my profile picture is a picture of Rosie and I. That picture is actually from about 2003, and I was still right around 200 pounds then. After 04,
face is much more filled out.
The way that picture looks. It's because my head's turned weird like that. Yeah. It is funny though, because there are some absolute pictures of me where I am portly. Here, this will be a great one right here, and this is a prime example, and you're gonna love this. Bam!
Whoa!
Look at that guy. That's me. I see that picture, and I swear I see someone else. I'm like,
yeah,
that is
totally different. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, your profile picture at least looks like you.
Right. I'm just saying, man. Let's zoom in on this beautifulness. Look at this. Look at this beast. And that was absolutely up in my peak around 300. So I don't know how heavy I actually got, because when I hit 299, I quit looking and I ignored it for the next 6 months to a year. I was like, I don't need to know, bro. And then I started getting worried because I started looking funky, man, in the body. I was like, that's not all right.
Hey, that's legit, man.
So I don't know what I topped out at. I know that I broke 300 because I felt it physically, like it was killing me.
Yeah.
And then, now I got as low as a couple months back. I got as low as about 176. And that was just too skinny, especially, now that skin's a little saggier, a little less elastic, right? I was looking at myself like, what the hell happened here? My turkey neck was 10 times worse. And now I'm about 190-ish. Dressed out, pistol, keys, wallet, all that stuff on me. I'm at like 196, 197. Pretty regular now.
Yeah.
So, whatever.
James, I don't keep a dip can in my pocket, but okay. And I know different people have different experiences with different churches, but pretty non-judgmental where I'm at. Yeah. Everybody knows I'm a trucker. They've all heard me swear because I slip sometimes, and I've got stains on my teeth that tell you that I did. So right. I mean, the most I get is from the bishop is like, hey man, you're thinking about coming back full or what? Sometimes that's about the size of it. But I was going to say something. Oh, about health and fitness. We were talking to Tony Dennis about this. I can't remember why it came up, but we were talking about how the gyms and the truck stops. Oh, I know it was. He has a friend that tried to put gyms and truck stops, and his business failed. And I'm like, dude, did you know that in the 2014 to 2017 Cascadia trucks, there was an option for a Bowflex gym that was mounted to the back wall of the sleeper? True story. I would have loved to have had one at the time, but yeah, I don't know if they offer that anymore. It's definitely not in their brochures like it was.
Look at that neck, Jeff.
That's a tape passing neck right there,
bro. Right? Compared to what me now, look at it, like it comes straight down from my head, bro. It's like a straight line. It was gone. Oh man, I look back on these, and this is from 2017. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's my year-old grandson right there.
17. That would have been just before we met, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was gnarly. That was pretty close to when we got together, I think. Anyhow, yeah. Sorry for that memory lane.
That didn't sound weird at all.
No, right? Hey now,
Don't tell Rosie.
right? Get a bigger damn pistol, throw it 9mm in the leg. I love it though. I love my little 9. I'm just saying.
Swift would sell you 2 CPAP machines with that neck.
Right? For real. I did well. I actually went in for a sleep study. It was, I want to say around 2010 or 11, around then. And I actually passed a legitimate, like a full in-house 24-hour in the hospital sleep study in a sleep lab, and got through that. It was questionable, but I passed. I'm just saying. They're like, well, maybe we could do some more in depth. I'm like, I'm good. Thanks, mate. I'm out. And
Lisa wants to know how much for you to do her wedding in Michigan in the winter.
You ain't got enough money, Lisa. I mean,
and we know you ain't cooking good barbecue in that kind of weather.
No. There will be no food negotiation in freaking Michigan in winter. No.
Tacos.
That ain't happening. That's cash, zeros, multiples. Just saying. I'm not actually real comfortable doing these. Apparently, I did pretty good on the few that I've done, but I get it's weird because this is like one of those most important moments in people's lives, right?
Yeah, I cry at weddings.
And look, I got to tell you, I struggled through this with them because they're family people, right? I mean, I've known Brandy, gosh, since I mean, they were in high school, and they're a few years younger than Rosie and myself, and that is Rosie's second youngest sister in the whole thing. So, several years of younger, and man, I've known these people for so long. It's crazy. Anyhow, whatever. The wedding party is parachuting out of airplane. You know what? You might get me on that one, even in winter. That'd be fun. And that might be a way to get me to perform a ceremony, do it on the aircraft, and then exit the aircraft for the final I do's.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that would be fun. You know what? If we're gonna do it in Michigan in the winter, skydiving, we're going naked. The whole party's going naked just for fun. See where it happens. See where it goes. I'm just saying this is not okay.
Strike that from the record.
Did that work? I don't even know. You know what? We're getting close to the end of this thing, and someone take us out of this line of questioning that we are in now. I'm staring at my no neck picture, and I got to make that screen go away because that's going to drive me nuts. I can't believe I got that big.
Yeah.
But that was a good looking beard and mustache. I just got to say, it was well cured and looked good. But damn, why did I not hide that neck? Holy heck, man. So you know what, Jeff? Why don't we do this? We're only about 10 minutes early. Let's call this thing a wrap for this. This has been a really long day for us. If you guys think of anything, and maybe you're catching this on the replay and we didn't touch on something that you'd like to hear us talk about again, or if you got other subjects you'd like us to dive into, definitely put those down there in the comments below. In the comment section. You know what I'm talking about. You people know how to do this. Hey, if you dug the content, give us one of them, huh? If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Then you know when we're going on. But you could also set your watch by at 6 p.m. Eastern time, Tuesdays. We haven't missed a show yet since we started this. I think we're at 3 years, something like that.
Yep.
So
weird.
Definitely come check us out. Jeff's got to go to bed. He's got to get up in a few hours and make some miles and stuff. So you guys, once again, thank you for spending your time with us. It does mean a great deal to us. Jeff, what are your final words here?
Just keep the rubber side down, man. That's all I have the energy for tonight.
All right. Don't forget about that BOI thing, folks. If you haven't done it already, make sure you do that. There you go. Go check out the group, guys. You know what? Take care of each other. Look after each other. No one's out there looking after us but us. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, like every dang week.